Anything about what about the crack, the homeless guy here who's supposed to be a crack addict? You know anything about him?
No.
Okay, you know.
I haven't seen him.
Okay, all right, thank you.
There's a number of homeless people in Richmond. When I used to run the Richmond Inn, I used to have a homeless fellow that lived in the woods or bushes right beside the back in the vacant lot. He was in the shrubs there. And, wow.
Where's that?
That's up near Minnery. I was back at the Richmond Inn behind Matches, but they've developed that land there and put in another building.
But what about here in Steveston? Is there more than one homeless guy?
Probably. I've only seen one or two that ride around on their bikes with a wagon behind, and yeah, their homely possessions with them. So, but yeah, that's the only thing I've seen.
Thank you.
Yep. And like I said, I think the police know of these boys because I've seen the boys around periodically down at Seafair, out in front of the liquor store, and places like that. But how do I say? Most frequently, I see them in the afternoon and evening out in front of my home at the bus stop, partaking in their transactions. So.
Thank you.
Yep. We used to have someone that used to do it in the church parking lot.
Which church is that?
Church? Chinese Alliance. But they put a gate on that now, and during the day it's open because they have an office worker there. But I no longer see that activity. I used to watch it from my kitchen window. The guy would come out the trail and he'd have 3 or 4 people in cars all waiting for him there. He'd divvy up the bags, go back through the woods, the trail back into the subdivision by Diefenbaker, and the other people who got their greenery would drive out of the church parking lot.
Is that the Minato West on Regent Street?
It's the one that goes into Pugwash or whatever, that little, how do I say, there's a little subdivision in there with all these little townhomes that are connected.
Yep.
You got the Alliance Chinese Church, and at the back corner of it, there's a walkway that people use to get to transit and that, and it takes you back out to the street, which I think is Fortune or Gander, which is where Diefenbaker is on. And the fellow used to live somewhere within about a 3 or 4 house range of that, because he used to come through.
Whose fellow is this?
He used to be a tall fellow. My son went to Diefenbaker School and said it was one of the local boys, and I haven't seen him in probably about a year and a half.
And what is he suspected of in your...
Oh, well, he used to do drug dealing. I used to watch him. Like I said, he had no fear. He'd tromp out from that little vacant walkway, and he'd have his people sitting in their cars already waiting for him. He'd deliver a couple and head back through the trail. And
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Have a good day.
And I'm sure I wasn't the only one that witnessed it. At one time, I used to call the RCMP on the going-ons at the Chinese Alliance Church parking lot, because before they put a gate on, used to have people that would pull in there and they'd have party night and chuck all their beer bottles all over the thing, smash it. And then there was a gang fight one time, probably about 10, 12 years ago. They had a whole bunch of Asians that were actually in there with baseball bats, chains, and machetes chasing themselves around. And the RCMP came and they jumped the fences but left their vehicles. So the RCMP had Rusties come down and help themselves to a couple of vehicles, because the ones they were looking for had run off.
Well, what do the RCMP do when you tell them about the drug dealing?
Well, they ask if I can describe the fellow, and sometimes I've been able to, but by the time they come, it's all over. You know what I mean? Because the guy comes out, these people are all there, they've obviously talked to him on a cell phone, he does the drop, and they're all gone within about 2 or 3 minutes. And it doesn't happen at any particular time. You'll be making dinner one evening and, look out the window and there's a couple of cars lined up on the very corner of the church parking lot, no activity going on at the rest of the church, and all of a sudden our friend pops out of the trail and does his thing.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing. It's okay to tell everybody about this?
Yeah, it makes no difference.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Imagine someone else has taken his place. You see what I mean? I think it's quite lucrative.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think what's happened is you've got more and more homes that have turned into rental home world, and how do I say? I don't think people do that kind of thing. I'm actually glad that we lost the corner store at 1 on Williams and they built that ambulance station there, because at one time that corner store used to be a hotbed of activities. I had a home invasion in 1993 associated with the group that used to hang out in front of the corner store, young Asian fellows. I rescued a boy that they were kicking the Hunans out of in my front yard at 1:30, quarter to 2 in the morning, and ended up with the wrath of them, how do I say, regrouping at the store, calling in a bunch more buddies, and then attacking my house, tearing the screen door off, trying to kick open the front, but the deadbolts held. So I got a bedroom that's right beside the front door. They smashed the window and we're going to come in there. I went out in the front yard with 2 giant French knives and chased boys around that ran like hell.